Good evening. I'm still reporting on the Clintons. I'm calling this PlaneGate. On Monday evening, exactly 3 days ago, Attorney General Loretta Lynch met secretly on a private plane on the tarmac at Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport with Bill Clinton away from prying eyes or television cameras. The secret meeting would have remained secret except that one anonymous tipster understood the gravity of the secret meeting and quickly called the local ABC affiliate in Phoenix. Do not underestimate the importance of this story. This could be just as important to the downfall of the Clintons as the revelation of the existence of a surreptitious taping system in the Oval Office was for the Nixon administration during the Watergate investigation in 1973, nearly 43 years ago.
This is a Fox News alert. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. New calls tonight for an investigation for the Attorney General to recuse herself in the email investigation and to step down even. All this over a meeting between former President Bill Clinton and Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The meeting Monday in Phoenix comes as the FBI investigates whether Clinton mishandled sensitive information with her unusual email setup, as well as an investigation into her connection with the Clinton Foundation. As correspondent Jennifer Griffin joins us now with more on the reaction to what Lynch called an impromptu meeting. Good evening, Jennifer.
Good evening, Brett. The revelations have raised eyebrows across the aisle in spite of Attorney General Loretta Lynch's denial that she and Bill Clinton ever discussed the ongoing FBI investigation.
Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels, but there was no discussion of any matter pending before the department or any matter pending before any other body. There was no discussion of Benghazi, no discussion of the State Department emails by way of example.
The conservative legal watchdog Judicial Watch today requested the Department of Justice Inspector General investigate the meeting. Lynch will ultimately be one of the key U.S. officials to decide whether or not to indict Secretary Clinton once the FBI investigation concludes.
When I first heard that yesterday afternoon, I actually thought they were joking.
Fox has also confirmed separately the Justice Department filed a motion late yesterday on behalf of the State Department seeking a 27-month delay in producing correspondence between former Clinton State Department aides and the Clinton Foundation. The number of potentially relevant documents and emails has grown to more than 34,000, we've learned. The State Department explained today that it is inundated with FOIA requests and that the request from the Justice Department is not political.
And joining us now from Phoenix, KNXV TV anchor Christopher Sine, who broke the story. So first of all, they were in private planes, right? And they were in a hangar. Is that what happened?
They're basically on the tarmac in a private section of Sky Harbor International Airport where a lot of the high-profile people fly in and out of the airport.
How did you get on to the fact that they were meeting?
I was leaving for the day, got a tip from a trusted source, and naturally you could think my jaw dropped. I trust this person, took the information, had a private meeting with my management at the studios here in Phoenix. We then went after a second source. I achieved that. They both had the exact same information. Neither one of these sources knew each other. We then had the information. We are armed with the information and took that to the news conference, and we were already prepared to go with the story even before we asked the Attorney General if indeed she met with the former president.
Okay, so from my understanding, the Attorney General was landing, or had just landed, and Mr. Clinton was already in Phoenix, and he knew she was coming in on a private plane, and he wanted to wait to chat with her, and then he boarded her plane and they had the conversation. Is that how it went down?
That's right. That's right. She, as a matter of fact, landed on time. He and his entourage were running late, according to my sources. They then make the decision, they meaning the president's team, former president's team, they wait for her to land. She arrives. Some people step off of her plane. The former president steps into her plane. They then speak for 30 minutes privately. The FBI there on the tarmac instructing everybody around, no photos, no pictures, no cell phones.
That's right, a totally private conversation with no possibility of being overheard or recorded, protected by FBI and Secret Service agents on either an FBI jet or a private jet being used by Lynch. I'm sorry to say this, but Lynch will be out of a job 6 months from now. The Clintons have access to virtually unlimited amounts of money from certain Middle Eastern nations. I'm not suggesting this, however, at this point, no one can rule out that a substantial amount of money could have been offered, or even worse, a significant threat during this 30-minute meeting. If you listened carefully to Lynch, she was careful to say the meeting was mostly social. So that means that there was some business discussed, and perhaps dirty business.
He then gets off the plane, gets on his own plane, he departs, she continues on with her planned visit.
Why would they meet? Well, it just got worse. On Wednesday, 2 days after their tarmac meeting, the DOJ asking a federal judge to stall for 27 more months the required production of thousands of emails from Secretary Clinton's top aides to the Clinton Global Initiative. Just moments ago, Texas Senator John Cornyn went on the record.
Well, it looks really bad, Greta, and as you know, as a lawyer, it's not just the actual impropriety, it's the appearance of impropriety. And of course, just another reason why I don't think Loretta Lynch should take the lead in this investigation, but should rather appoint a special counsel, which is designed to provide a little bit of independence so that the public can be reassured that justice will be done and not just politics.
She knows better, and the best she could do with a statement was say that it was primarily social. I don't know what primarily means, but to me it's astounding for the Attorney General of the United States to do this.
Well, I agree with you, and it's really part of a larger narrative about the Clintons just acting like the rules that apply to you and everybody else don't apply to them. There's a statutory special counsel provision, as you know, that applies in cases like this where the independence of the Department of Justice and the Attorney General herself in this instance is reasonably questioned. I think she just provided additional rationale for that.
Well, she certainly has poisoned the investigation, and no matter which way you fall on this story, is that we want an honest and fair one that isn't poisoned by, even the appearance of impropriety. If she refuses to assign it to recuse herself and assign it to her deputy, or refuses to look for a special prosecutor, should the president do anything? Because we all know where this leads if she stays on the case.
Well, President Obama has already claimed that he knows what the outcome of the investigation is, and we've been told by Director Comey that there is no communication between the FBI agents and the White House. So it's clear the president is trying to preordain the outcome of this by saying he knows things he doesn't know, and he's going to use all the influence he can to make sure that this indictment under the Espionage Act never occurs.
Former Florida Congressman Colonel Allen West goes on the record. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta.
Well, everybody else is talking about, so what are your thoughts about the meeting between the Attorney General and the former president?
Well, I think you don't look at this as an isolated incident, but you look at over the past 2 to 3 weeks, you have a Loretta Lynch who came out and said she was going to redact key information out of the transcripts from the Orlando terrorist shooting, the 9/11 calls made by the jihadist attacker. You also now have found out that her FBI is telling law enforcement agencies in Florida against the state constitution not to cooperate with news agencies down there and turn over any type of information. And then as well, we know about the compassion, unity, and love comment that she made about the best response to terrorism. So this has been 2 to 3 weeks has been very bad for Loretta Lynch. It seems that there's a problem with her competence. It seems that there's a problem with her credibility after this meeting with Bill Clinton. And I don't know if you can look at her as being able to carry out the duties that she's supposed to as the top law enforcement officer in the United States of America.
So what should happen?
Well, let's look at it from their perspective. We're about to go into the 240th Independence Day weekend for the United States of America. They just believe that they can wait this thing out. And when they come out on the other side next week, Tuesday, it'll be forgotten. Hillary Clinton should come out and disavow the meeting, but she's going to try to lay low, because I guarantee you, if you look at some of the other news agencies and news outlets here in the United States of America, they're probably not talking about this whatsoever. Loretta Lynch was supposedly a great prosecutor as well, but she was also appointed originally by Bill Clinton.
I'm talking about that secret meeting with President Bill Clinton in a private plane on the tarmac in Phoenix. Yeah, I know. You said it was primarily social. Primarily is not completely, but that's not the problem. That's the least of the problems. And we both know it doesn't have to be actual impropriety. Appearance is enough. So do yourself a favor. The Justice Department needs a favor too, and the nation needs a favor. Recuse yourself from this investigation. If you don't get out of this now, it will get worse. Don't believe me? Well, try this. Just 2 days after your primarily social meeting with the spouse of someone under FBI investigation, your lawyers at DOJ went to federal court seeking a 27-month delay in producing correspondence between former top aides to Secretary Clinton and officials with your new best friend Bill Clinton's foundation. That smells really bad. So take my advice. Recuse now. It will get worse.
So you had this very post that Miss Loretta Lynch holds right now.
I did.
Why was it a mistake?
It was a mistake because you don't take a meeting with the spouse of somebody who is a subject of an investigation by your department. It's not that that's a written rule any more than it's a written rule that a surgeon washes his hands before he operates. There are some things that are so elementary that you don't have to have a written rule to have them in effect.
What of the fact that they say it wasn't really a meeting, it was a glad-handing moment. Their planes just happened to meet at the airport. They talked about grandkids only.
Yeah. Again, the Attorney General is protected by a security detail of FBI agents. I assume she was traveling with staff since she was on government business. Mm-hmm. The President is protected by a detail of Secret Service agents. They don't even work for the same department. They don't encounter each other casually. That happens by design, and I think actually it was not her fault. It was the President's design, from what I read in the accounts. He was the...
I'm still reporting from Washington. Good day.